give me an insight into what your research is all about to start with, Naresh?
Well, my research is on food security. That's a topic of broad as large it can be. But I wanted to look at how do farmers or the community themselves define what's food security for them. So that is, in a nutshell, what I wanted to look at. So I picked this area where in the mid-hills of Nepal, which is an important part of Nepal, which also represents larger sector of farming in Nepal, and which also sustains a lot of people. So I thought that is a good enough rationale to do research in that particular place of interest of mine as well, which makes it more interesting because I also belong to the mid-hills of Nepal. Nepal is in a three different hierarchical zones, which is called the high mountains and the mid-hills, and the flat plains they call Tarai. So given that understanding, and for last so many years, we have had a lot of intervention, given the Nepal is one of the poor countries in the world, and a lot of intervention that ultimately goes into agriculture field because majority of who we are farmers. So that makes sense that it is predominantly agricultural country. So given that intervention has taken place for so long, we still hear in news even more often now that food is becoming insecure for many poor people in the country. So I thought why this may be the case. So I wanted to see if there is a mismatch between the definition of the intervenees and interveners. So I wanted to look at if there is differences, and which is what I did. How do farmers define food security versus how do development agencies define food security? I have to be really careful because the data I haven't started analyzing, although that my gut feeling with whatever I have sort of understood through my field is that it is basically a big issues of food security that is promoted globally. For example, through FAO activities, food and agriculture organizations, or other such organizations, those are that they are representing in Nepal. And government buys into that sort of definitions. And at the same time, how they proceed to do things in which is maybe not exactly what farmers actually want to do.
It was decided at Naresh's PhD confirmation of candidature that I would extend my time, but in the field and supervising Naresh doing his data collection in the field.
Okay.
In the mid-hills of Nepal.
Okay, and how?
And so there we were.
And how was that experience for you?
It was fabulous. It was. I have been. I've been to other Asian countries before, but I haven't been for a long time. So in some ways it was similar, but it's. I've never been to Nepal before, and I've always wanted to go. So it was a fabulous experience. Just the people there are just beautiful. They're wonderful, lovely people. The experience of us being in the field together was it was extremely good. It was really beneficial for both of us, I think. And I've said to Naresh a couple of times I would have probably been dead without him a couple of times because I don't speak the language, and because we were so far away from the capital city, from Kathmandu, because literally we were south of Everest, more or less. We're more or less south of Everest, but in the mid-hills, not in the high mountains. And in Kathmandu, a lot of people speak English, and there was one person where we were that spoke excellent English. That's a bit more of a story. I would have just been lost without Naresh many times because I just don't speak the language, and a lot of people there don't have have very limited English, very little English. But the man that was there that could speak English, his father had learnt English in Darjeeling, which is the northern part of India, eastern part of India in the north, which borders onto Nepal, and he had been to school there and come back to Nepal to be a teacher. So he had taught the son, who was this person that we met, and he was one of the farmers, to speak English as a child. And this man was now 65 and still spoke almost perfect English. It's just different cultures have different, I suppose, different values on how things get done and when they get done, and different ideas. So I think that brought that home to me, that in fact it's not a life and death situation. If something doesn't get done today, it will get done tomorrow or next week. It's not, you know, you don't have to live and die by the fact that it isn't done, you know, in the next half hour.